Okay guys, today I am going to do my nails with you guys. I'm gonna take these off and I'm gonna do a gel manicure. I did get some questions. These were my birthday nails. You guys will see a close-up right now, but these were my birthday nails and it was my first time doing edge nails and I learned a lot from doing them for the first time. So I want to do another video of me doing them, but I have a couple of things coming up in the next couple weeks that I think it would be better for me to have a gel manicure, and then after that gel manicure I think I'll go back to having edge nails. So that's when I'll record that video doing these nails again. But I've been wanting to record doing a removal on myself for a long time, so I thought we would do that. So I'm gonna do my removal right now and then we'll do our gel design afterwards. What we're working with now, because it was my first time doing them, figured I was gonna want my natural nail. It already had a pretty good length. I didn't want to cut down my natural nail, and I think that's what attributed to them being so thick, because the angle that I had, the form, just made me need to make them a little bit thicker. I'm gonna start off by cutting these down, and I'm flipping my hand this way so that I can be aware of where my natural nail is, because I'm trying to preserve that length for my gel. I know it's just a little bit past this, I think, so I probably could take more off. These look crazy. Okay, these ones definitely are. This hand I was doing my non-dominant, and then also it was my first, like, I did this hand first, so I had a lot more like room to mess up. I don't know. I had, what's the words? Since this was my first hand, this was definitely the learning hand, I would say. Okay, I think that's as close as we're gonna get. So next, I'm taking my extra coarse 5-in-1 bit. I think this is from Melody Susie on Amazon. I'm gonna start doing my working with my dominant hand. So I'm gonna be running this on forward at like 12,000 RPMs. I could go higher, but I've never filed this shape before, so, or like taking it down, so I just want to be careful. Two things: if you're doing a removal at home and you don't have a drill, you can do this with a hand file. Obviously, if you had an acrylic set like this that had thicker acrylic like application, I would definitely say just file like this much, where you filed the top coat off, and if you had any gel color, you want to file that off too, to where like it's just the base of the acrylic. That way you're not filing away for thousands and thousands of years. But also, the more you file, the faster the acetone is gonna work through the acrylic. So if you do want to sit there and file for 1,000 years to make it as thin as possible without hitting the natural nail and then soaking it, that works too. But since I have a drill, I'm going to be using it. Sometimes when I'm doing my removals on clients, I'll file a little bit off each nail and then go back, just so that I'm not creating a heat spike for them with the drill. Okay, so that's what we're looking like for my first pass. Gonna go through a second time. also let it be known, I would normally work with my dust collector collecting all of this. But it's a lot harder for you guys to hear me, and I don't feel like doing a voiceover for this, so. Okay, that's my second pass. I think I'm gonna do maybe one more and see how thin I can get it. My goodness, I'm covered. I'm not gonna film doing my other hand just because it's pretty repetitive. I'll come back and show you guys what we're at when I get them to the thinness that I want. This is what we're looking like. This side was too thick and I was very scared of having the drill my non-dominant hand getting too close, so this is as thin as I got this hand, and this hand got a little bit thinner. And then I can now see the like overgrowth of, or not overgrowth, but like the little bit that's still not touching my natural nail. So I'm actually gonna take the clippers and clip up to that natural nail so that I don't have to be soaking that off. Also you hear the water running in the back because I'm getting the bowl ready that we're gonna use right now, and I need the hottest water possible, so I'm waiting for that to get hot. And I switched out my dental bib for a towel because in case any of the water spills over, it'll pick up on here. That is hot water from the sink, as hot of water as I can get it, and also as hot as I can stand. And then I'm getting a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna fill this with some acetone. This method that I'm doing, I don't do on my clients. I just do this for myself. I find that this is the fastest way to take off my own acrylic nails or press-ons. Sometimes it works with gel. It just depends what gel you had on. I put about that much acetone, and then I'm putting a couple of lint-free wipes in there. I'm actually gonna grab a couple more. Okay, and then I'm putting the acetone part into the bowl of water, and then before I stick my hand in here, I'm actually gonna put some cuticle oil around my hands. You don't have to do this oil step, it just feels a little bit better on your skin after the fact because we are going to be soaking our whole hand in acetone basically. Kind of rub that around. And we're going to stick our hands in here, and then while your hands are stuck in here, you're basically doing this rubbing motion like this with the lint-free wipes so that you're rubbing the acrylic constantly while your hands are soaking. This is it. I'm gonna sit here for a couple minutes. Like I said, this is the fastest way to take off my own acrylic in my opinion. When I've timed it before, like depending how thin I get the acrylic, if it's pretty thin, like I think on my left hand it's gonna be a lot faster. I'll usually only be soaking for like 10 minutes and everything will be completely off. I don't know about today just because I feel like I left a little bit more acrylic than I normally would, but this is my alternative to putting cotton on my hands and then putting the foil and letting it sit. And you can only kind of really do one hand at a time because you need the other hand to constantly be like checking the other hand. Trying to put foils on both hands is just, unless someone else is helping you, it's not the way to go. So this is like the easiest way that I find that I can do both hands at the same time as well. This is what we're looking like. I am okay stopping right here as far as soaking. If I was not gonna do anything on my nails and I wanted the product 100% off, I would keep soaking. But since I'm gonna do gel on myself right now, I don't need it to be 100% off. A couple things I wanted to mention if you do this method or you use acrylic, if you use acetone in general to take off your nails, please be super careful with acetone. Acetone eats away at plastic, it eats away at like the varnish on wood tables. I would hate for you guys to ruin your furniture. So if you guys are using acetone to take off your nails, just please be careful with accidentally spilling it or something like that. I don't want you guys to ruin anything. And you don't want to throw acetone down the drain. So I recommend putting paper towels in like this to soak it all up. And then you can either leave this like outside for it to air dry. Acetone dries up super quickly, so you could just leave it open like this and let it air dry, or if you want to have the acetone smell in your house, just leave it open like this. It should only take a couple hours to air dry, and then you can toss it out in the trash. Also, I forgot to mention, if you guys are wondering why we did the hot water in the bowl, heat helps acetone work faster, so that is why we heat up the acetone with the hot water. Truth be told, I usually do this in the sink. That way, if I feel like the water is getting a little bit like warm and not hot anymore, I'll turn on the water again and just pour it into the bowl, not into the bag, into the bowl, so that it like rewarms the water, and then I'll turn it off again once I feel like it's hot again and let it soak in until I am good. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my mandrel bit with my fine sanding band, and I'm gonna start prepping my nails for gel. I'm going at 3000 RPMs. You don't need anything crazy. And I'm going around the edges. If I remember correctly, I have a little bit of gel, builder gel left over before I had done my acrylic set. So if you see like different textures on my nails, that is also why I didn't feel like I needed to keep soaking off, because I knew I had a little bit of gel. Some pieces of that gel may have broken down a little bit with the acetone, so I'm just making sure to pick anything up that I think needs to not be on my nail anymore. Off camera, I shaped this hand. I'm gonna shape this hand. I'm just using a hand file, a 100/180 grit. Really, I would just be fine with the 180, but I buy these dual-sided files in packs, so that's what I'm using. And I'm really just kind of cleaning up the edges a little bit to pull it into a tighter, like almond / rounded tip. And really just like fixing up the edges, trying not to take off a lot of length. I'm not really trying to manipulate like the shape of my natural nail either. I'm just kind of more so trying to guide it. That looks pretty good as far as length. And I'm really trying to make sure I'm working like from here out and not like digging into the side walls of my natural nails. I feel like I'm not careful on myself usually when doing my nails because I'll be in a rush or I'm doing my non-dominant hand or whatever the case is, so I'm not always good about my side walls, but when I am being mindful, I really try to be so that I'm not really thinning them out too much. Okay, that's what we're looking like. I'm gonna spray these with alcohol and scrub them. Do the other side. I don't like to do my cuticle prep on camera, so I'm gonna do that off camera right now, and then I'm gonna show doing one gel builder application, but I know I have to be like right here, so I'm not gonna be in focus, so I will really come back when we do the design. Just as a quick rundown, I'll go in with my dehydrator on all my nails. I already applied it, but I thought I would show you guys. And I'm using my Valentino or V Beauty dehydrator. I always forget that they changed their name. Then I'm using my Oily Gel FX Vitamin Infused Nail Tip Primer, and I'm gonna apply this all over my nail very carefully, trying to make sure I just keep it directly on my nail. And then I'm going in with my Oily Builder in a bottle, and I'm gonna do a thin application. Making sure to get to the edges. And I'm gonna go around the edge, free edge. Okay, and then I'm gonna cure that I'm gonna flash cure that because I have to get my lamp ready, but I'm gonna cure that for 60 seconds, or if you're scared of getting a heat spike, I'm gonna put it for the 120 seconds on my lamp. That way it will give me a slow, gradual cure. I'm gonna go in again. It's pretty like evened out, but it just doesn't have like any thickness. Honestly, I don't want to add a lot, knowing that I'm gonna do acrylic application in a couple weeks. When I have to take this off, I'm gonna hate that I put a lot for my application, so I'm gonna go with the all over coat. And then I'm gonna go in with my bead, and this is gonna be hard angle, but I usually just go to where this nail specifically had product already, so I'm kind of more so building up this part to even it out, and then I'll drag it down. I feel like I'm gonna want more right here. Drag it down, and then I'm gonna go in with my liner brush and guide that product where I want it. I'm gonna turn my nail around so I can see it, help it level out, but also guide the bead a little bit. Once I like how it looks, see where if I need to even it out on the other side, like when I flip it back over. Flip it over, let it settle a little bit, maneuver it if I need to. Okay, that looks good to me. And I'm gonna flash cure it with my handheld lamp. And then I'm gonna put it into the big lamp for 120 seconds to let it slow cure, and then sometimes I put it in for the 60-second after just so I know it's good and set. But there we are, that is my nail, and I'm gonna do that to the rest of the nails. I did one coat of D&D 126 beautiful teal right after I finished doing my builder on all my nails. So literally from this step did one coat. I'm going in with my second coat, but for my second coat I'm gonna be curing in between because while this coat is wet, I'm going to be spraying a neon green powder ombre into the middle to give it a aura. So I'm going to do my coat. And I want to make sure I'm being super careful with this coat of polish because this is gonna be the final coat of the base. Okay, when I'm happy with that one, I need to clean up the edge a little bit right here. I kind of want to get a little bit closer right here, but I think cleaning it up will be enough. Okay, now that I like that placement, I'll clean up this edge a little bit. I lied, I said that and then I saw this side right here. I'm just gonna bring the polish a little bit more to the edge. Okay, perfect. Maybe I need to do that to the side too. Okay, once I'm happy there, I'm going to take my powder ombre and concentrate it right in the middle of the nail. And I know it's hard to see the powder on camera, so it really just looks like it's popping out of nowhere, but in person you can see it a little bit better. So really just trying to concentrate it towards the middle. I'll stop every now and then to make sure if I need to move it a little bit, like if I want to move it down or up or anything. Maybe turn my nail a little bit just so that it gets a little bit more over here. I'll shake it in between a couple of sprays. Okay, I think that's good. And I'm just gonna blow off any extra with my little eyelash blower. and then I'm gonna cure that. For the sake of repetitiveness, I'm doing that to all the nails exactly the same, and I'll come back for the next one. Now that we're done with that step, normally because I'm gonna draw, okay, actually I should explain this, because I don't know if I've explained this in previous videos where I've shown the powder aura, or the powder ombre, I guess. If this is it, you could go one of two ways. Put a base coat, because sometimes the texture will show up if you go straight into a top coat, or you could skip the base coat if you're going to use a thicker top coat so that it fills in the texture that the powder leaves over. If you're going to do a design, like paint a design over, which is what I'm about to do, I would go in with a base coat, cure that for 60 seconds, and then go in with my design. However, I want to make these glow in the dark. So I'm using the V Beauty glow in the dark top coat, and I'm gonna do one coat of this because I'm realizing that like the amount of layers, I need to be smart about the type of layers that I'm doing. So instead of doing the base coat, I'm gonna put a layer of the glow in the dark top coat. I should mix this actually, because sometimes the glow in the dark like liquid or whatever part makes it glow in the dark. I feel like it likes to like settle to the bottom, so I'm just gonna roll my bottle to shake it up. And then I'm going to do a layer of that all over, and I'm gonna try making it thin. Because like I said, we're gonna be adding a lot of layers onto this. At least in my head, it's a lot of layers, so I don't want to add too much thickness. I'm gonna do that to all my nails, and then I'm gonna cure for 60 seconds. I'm using PLA 77 You Glow Girl, and I am doing these type of designs. I call them like the thong designs. I don't know if there's a different name for it, but that's what I call them. So I'm just gonna do that to all of them, and basically the way I like to start them is doing a curve wherever you want, but I'll start side to side, and then so this, in this case I went from this side down, and then I'll bring that into another curve to the other side. So I'll drag that out. And then I'll connect these two as closely as possible if I want it to be a thinner section right here. And I'll be intentional about curving these edges out. So I want it to look as if there was a circle here, a circle here, a circle here, and they all just like happen to meet. And I'll curve out this edge right here. Curve this one out a little bit. I got a little dot of gel, so let me clean that up. And then finish off this side. I did make these lines a little bit thicker, but I feel like that's kind of the fun of the design, is that none of them come out exactly the same. Okay, cute. So I'll show you guys one more on this side just to show you how I did this 4-way one in case you guys want to know how to do that, but I'm just gonna repeat that on all the nails and then we'll come back. I'm carrying that for 60 seconds, by the way. For the 4-way, I did this one from like top up, but I think I'm gonna do this next one sideways. So I'm gonna do my first curve from one side to the other. And then I'm gonna do a second curve that's like parallel, if that makes sense. It's not going straight, I know, but if this line went this way, then the next line needs to go this way. Same thing with this one. If this line went this way, the next line has to go that way, and they're gonna meet in the middle. So I'm gonna do kind of like a stronger curve, but meeting on the same side to side. Okay, and then right here you're just gonna start working on the outer like pieces first to give you that curve. So I'm gonna, I guess I kind of consider them like the feet. So I'll do the feet on this one, and then the foot on this one, and the foot on this one. Okay, so once the feet are done, I'm gonna go in and fix this curve because these two are pretty much like almost done as far as like meeting that circle. So right here, I'm just gonna fix that curve. The sides are gonna feel like a little bit more ovals than circles, but the still thing applies. Same idea applies, I would say, is that you're trying to just really make these lines nice curves that lead into each other. Okay, and then we'll fix this curve. And fill this in. Go back in, make sure this curve is nice and even. The edges are all nice and even. There we go. That's how you do a 4-way. Manicure that. Just finished doing this hand. I already did the design on here, and then I top coated it again with the glow in the dark because I want the glow in the dark to be strong. That's why I was like saying that I'm trying to pre-plan the layers, you know what I'm saying. So I just finished doing the design on my right hand, and I'm just gonna top coat it with the glow in the dark like I did in the other one. I think I'm gonna use these caviar beads, and then I'm gonna use size 6 in Crystal AB and size 3 in Crystal AB as well. To stick everything, I'm going to be using my McCart rhinestone glue. Oh, actually, I guess I kind of need this, but I'll just use the back. Okay. And honestly, there's no like rhyme or reason to this. I'm just gonna place these wherever I think. Guys, I still haven't reordered or like restocked. I'm just picking up my caviar beads with the tip that I put the glue. And they're not sticking, so that means I don't have enough. Was it too clustery? I feel like it's too clustery. I think I liked the idea originally for it to be like a lot, but now that I'm seeing it, okay, I feel like that looks better. Okay, I'm just gonna mess around, figure out my placement, and that's it. We're gonna top coat. I'm gonna cure this for 60 seconds, and then afterwards I'm gonna top coat with my Chan Legend top coat, if I can find it. I'm gonna top coat with my Chan Legend top coat, and I'll show you guys the finished results.